Hey, friends. I wish I could see you in person. I really do. I miss you all, but this will be the next best thing. I thought today I'd see if you could solve a mystery for me. I have a box and I have something inside, and I have 3 clues for you to see if you can help me solve the mystery of what could be in this box. The thing I put in the box is a prop that will be about the story that I will read today. So I will read a story, we'll talk about it, but first let's figure this out. The first clue. You can find these things inside most houses. I already know most of you have a guess. There's a lot of things you can find in people's houses. Homes, could be anything. Somebody probably would have their hand up if we were in school and you would say maybe someone would guess TV. Most people have a TV, or maybe beds. But wait, it can't be a bed. That wouldn't fit. A TV wouldn't fit. Oh, I know. I bet somebody wants to say books. Could you fit a book in here? It could be. Let's see. You can find it in most people's homes. Clue number 2. Most people know how to use them when they're old enough. Something that you can find in most people's homes, and you can't use it unless you're old enough. Are you trying to guess? Maybe a bike? Oh, wait. Can't be a bike. A pencil? Let's think. Yeah. You could use it. You'd have to be old enough. There's probably a lot of good guesses, and I just know if we were in person, I would be calling on about 100 people, maybe 10. Let's read clue number 3. This one might do it. You need to have these to make machines and devices turn on. Have you thought about it? Have you got it? Something that has to do with making things go, or turning on, or let's look. See if you figured it out. I wish I could hear you. You would be yelling what you think it is, and I would be saying, yes, you're right. It's a plug. This is called an extension cord, but it has something to do with our story today. It's a plug. And let's check. You need it to make a device turn on. Most people know how to use them, but you have to be old enough. You don't want your little brothers and sisters touching this in the outlets. And you can find them in most people's homes. Let's see what the story's about today. It's a really good story. It's one of my favorites, but you know what? I say that about a lot of books, don't I? It's called When Charlie McButton Lost Power. Yikes. He doesn't look happy. Well, here we go. Charlie McButton had likes and like-nots. The things that he liked involved handsets and bots, computerized games where he battled bad creatures. The things he liked not didn't have blow-up features. And then one day a thunderstorm blew into town and brought his tech empire tumbling down. A lightning bolt struck an electrical tower, and Charlie McButton, his whole world lost power. Ooh. He looked left, he looked right, his heart filled with dread. The TV, the lights, and his clock were all dead. He jumped to his feet, his lungs gasping for air. The room spun around and he clung to his chair. He tried to cry, "Help!" but just managed to squeak. The blackout had blacked out his power to speak. Thank goodness his mother had ears like a bat. She came to his room and she gave his head a pat. Look at him. Help! "Oh, Charlie," she said, picking up on his fears, "the lights will come back when the bad weather clears. You'll have to find something without plugs to play. Clean your room, read a book, sing a song, model clay." Could anything be any duller that day? Soggy gray clay on a soggy gray day. He hated the way clay got under his nails and how he could only make snowmen and snails. He dove for a gadget he'd outgrown last spring. It was handheld, outdated, not much of a thing, but he clutched that old toy like a lifeline that day. It ran on one battery, the size AAA. He flicked the on-off switch to on double quick, but no happy humming sound followed his click. He unlatched a hatch and his blood turned to ice. "The battery is gone from my backup device." He has no power. His electricity is out. Nothing, not even his batteries are working. World records were set in the 10-meter dash as away down the hallway he flew like a flash, seeking one battery, just one AAA that would rescue one boy from a gray day of clay. But just when his search nearly drove him insane, he ran past the bedroom of Isabel Jane. His 3-year-old sister was happily walking a doll back and forth, and the doll, it was talking. Are you thinking maybe the doll has a battery, right? Look at his face. Oh my gosh, he looks so mad. Now, dolls didn't talk on their own as a rule. They needed a power source, some kind of fuel. In less than a second, he made his decision. Call it bad judgment, a real lack of vision. Somehow his head didn't warn of his folly, and Charlie McButton, he pounced on that dolly. Not a good idea. Uh-oh. He plucked out his prize through the doll's dress, and Isabel Jane made a sound of distress. It was just a short walk to the foot of the stairs, where resided the McButton time out time chair. To add to the fun of his term in the seat, Isabel Jane came to play at his feet, and Isabel Jane, the battery queen, had more AAAs than he'd ever seen. He probably should have asked her. They powered her puppies, they powered her clocks, they powered her talkative alphabet blocks. Assaulted by non-stop mechanical chatter, Charlie McButton got madder and madder. He snapped at his sis from his timeout zone. "How come you can't ever just leave me alone?" Wow. Her eyes filled with tears, and she gave them a rub. And she went to the bathroom and hid in the tub. And then Charlie McButton felt totally rotten and couldn't help thinking about some things he'd forgotten. Look how small he looks. He's not really shrinking, he just feels small. Mainly he thought that for sisters that toddle, Isabel Jane was a pretty good model. She clearly adored him. She didn't have fleas. At dinner, she'd secretly eat up his peas. And sometimes, although he'd most hotly deny it, he liked to just sit there beside her in quiet, wrapped up in a blanket, watching TV. her head on his shoulder, her foot on his knee. He really liked her. He sat and he thought, and he stared at the rain, and when his time out was done, he found Isabel Jane, and from the edge of the tub she gave him a peek. So he said, "Hey, do you want to play hide and seek?" She was happy at once and ran into the hall. She loved playing hide and go seek most of all. So they took turns being it and counting to 10, and they hid in the plants and even the guinea pig pen. And when he found Isabel Jane in her quilt, they decided a big blanket fort should be built. And then the gloom made him think about dragons and spells. So Charlie became a wizard named Wizard McSmells, and Isabel Jane, who desired a role, magically changed to his faithful old troll. Between tracking down dragons and brewing up lizards and handling the day-to-day business of wizards, forging his faithful old troll a new sword, Charlie McButton forgot to be bored. And at supper they ate under real candlelight. The daytime had melted right into the night, and after they'd all been asleep for an hour, the world came alive with a big surge of power. Whoa. Oh, it's finally back, Charlie thought with a grin. Tomorrow I'll wake up and I can plug in. But another thought hit him that he couldn't explain. He said, I might also find dragons with Isabel Jane. The end. And you know what I always do at the end of a book? I always ask, well, we know what the author's purpose was on this one, probably to entertain us. But sometimes there's a lesson. So what do you think the lesson to this story is? I always say, and the moral of the story was, and I don't have you to talk to or to hear. I can talk, but to hear your answers. So I'm going to tell you what some kids told me last year. Here are some ideas I got last year from some 3rd and 4th and 5th graders. When I read this book last year, they said they thought the moral of this story was, don't forget to buy batteries. That's a great idea and a really good lesson, but I don't think it's this true lesson that the author wants us to know. How about don't spend all day on your devices? Wow, I know you've probably heard some parents say that before. How about this one? Imagination is power. I had a really good answer from someone last year. I agree. How about devices are good, but you gotta do other things too? Yeah. How about sisters and brothers don't have fleas? They don't usually, but that's probably not the lesson of this book. I think maybe the lesson might be balance your day. We're kind of faced with a big job ahead of us, to have school, to have fun, to be home all day, to not see our friends. And how do you do that? Wow. I say, think about Charlie McPower and see if you can find a balance in your day. Maybe some devices, maybe some imagination, maybe a computer game, maybe some Legos, or some blocks, or some time outside. Think about balance as you go about your week, and think about ways that you can find how you're kind of like Charlie McButton, or maybe not. That's all I have for today, folks. I'll take requests. I'll read again next week. We'll do another mystery box. See ya till then. Miss ya.